Hi, this is immigration lawyer Elaine Martin. Today's video, I'm going to cover 3 different but related questions. I'm going to answer how do you find your priority date, how do you read the Visa Bulletin, and when is your case likely to be approved? Well, okay, spoiler alert, I'm not going to answer that last question, but I am going to explain to you why no lawyer can answer that question and why it is so difficult to predict the progression of visa numbers, but how you can look at previous visa bulletins to have a look for yourself. As I say, there are 3 different sections to this. If you want to skip to the next section, just have a look at the description of this video and it will show you the relevant timeline where you can skip to the next section. Just click on that URL. I hope this helps. For most of this video, I'm going to be showing you my computer screen so that you can see where exactly you can find the relevant information, either on your document or online. Let's go.
The first thing we need to do is figure out the priority date. On an I-140, as this is, the priority date is going to be down below the preference category. Here it is January 29th, 2018. The preference category that you will also need is over here to the right. This case it's second preference EB2 for foreign nationals with an advanced degree. If you have an I-130, it's a similar exercise. The priority date is down below the receipt number here, and the preference category is over to the right. It's a little bit confusing because it looks like it says A2A. It's F2A is really the category for foreign national spouses of permanent residents. So now that you have your priority date and preference category, let's get reading the bulletin.
You can just type in Visa Bulletin into your search bar and it will almost certainly bring you to this site, the Department of State, US Department of State, and it will be the Visa Bulletin. For this month, we want to look at September 2019. So we're going to bring up that Visa Bulletin, and in our example, we have said we're talking about a spouse of a permanent resident from Mexico, family 2A. First thing, we look at the final action dates, which means the date that a case could be approved in theory, unless it's just making its way through the normal processing times. Family 2A is our category and our client is from Mexico. We're showing a C. C means current, which means that numbers are available if the case is ready to be approved under normal processing times. If your case was not filed, and the date here you look at is the priority date, as we've already explained, which normally is the date that your I-130 was filed. Let's show you how bad it could be. For example, for a 4th preference from the Philippines, your case could be started 21 years ago and you still couldn't be approved. Now, if the final step of your case, say adjustment of status or consular processing, has not yet been started, you need to generally go to look at the dates for filing to see if it could even be filed now. In this case, our F2A for Mexico can't be filed if it wasn't started before July 1st, 2019. That generally means if the I-130 was not filed before July 1st of 2019, the adjustment of status or consular processing can't be started now. If your case was filed on July 15th and you didn't do adjustment with it, you're out of luck. Try back next month. It could possibly be ready then. Having said that, there is more to it than just looking at the dates for filing. You have to go to this website to see what the Immigration Service says is the date that they would accept for filing. That's this link here. So family-sponsored filings. In the F2A category, the one in our example, it actually says applicants in the F2A category may file using the final action dates. So ignore what I said about filing. When it says the filing date, Immigration Service is saying you can actually file based on the final action date, which in our example was current. However, that's only in that particular F2A preference category. All other categories, you do go by the dates for filing. Clear as mud? Yep, thought so. Now let's take a look at the employment-based categories. We will take a third preference worker from India. India third preference here. Final action date is 1st of July 2005, so still a long way off getting approved. What if you're still waiting to even file your adjustment of status? Dates for filing, India third preference, April 2010. So your perm could have been started 9 years ago and you still can't file the adjustment of status. Assuming Immigration Service isn't going to say any different, employment-based preference categories, you use the final action dates back to September Visa Bulletin. Final action date, India third preference. What are we? India third preference, final action date. You can't even file your adjustment of status if your perm was not started before July 2005. 14 years before you could even file the final step. It's crazy. People often ask, how long will my case take? How fast are they moving? That's impossible to tell. If you're so inclined, you can go in and see historical progressions or retrogressions of visa bulletins going back years. But just to give you one example, in February 2019, we'll talk about the family fourth preference category for the Philippines was October 1995. September 2019, a few months later, the date is July 1998. So it has moved forward by 3 years in a few months. So you can't say that every month the visa bulletin will also move forward by 1 month. Sometimes they could jump ahead by a couple of years or more. Sometimes they could go backwards. So it is really difficult to say. It depends on demand, and that is completely unpredictable. Well, as you can see, it's not an easy matter to try to figure out visa bulletins, priority dates, preference categories, but I hope this has given you a little bit of an idea. Also, every month I do a short video on the next month's visa bulletin, so as soon as that visa bulletin comes out, I will be doing a video on it. So make sure you subscribe to keep up with all of the videos. Like this one if it was helpful to you, share it with your friends, and leave any comments if there's anything you'd like to see covered in the future. Thanks.